Monday's tragic school shooting has reignited the gun control debate among lawmakers in Washington and many of you across the country.
That's right. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle argued about this issue yesterday, with one discussion in Capitol Hill turning into a shouting match between Representatives Jamal Bowman and Thomas Massie. Watch this.
They're freaking cowards. They're gutless. They're not here. I'm talking about gun violence.
You know, there's never been.
I'm talking about gun violence.
In a school that allows teachers to carry.
Oh my God. Carry guns? You think more guns lead to more death?
Well, CBS News congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane there at the Capitol joining us now. Scott, as you can see, emotions running high. The left really united in calling for a reinstatement of the assault weapons ban, which happened under a Republican administration, we should note. But members of the right, as you saw there, arguing that schools should be protected from guns with more guns. As you heard Representative Massie say, teachers ought to be carrying guns. Is there a room for conversation here that can ultimately lead to any progress?
There are no hearings on the calendar in the U.S. House about gun control or gun restrictions. There's no bipartisan legislation on the books for gun control or gun restrictions. There's really no meetings between Democrats or Republicans that have been publicly acknowledged about gun control or gun restrictions. So what's left in the quiver for members of Congress? It is to message, it is to communicate, it is to advocate. You saw one example of that last night from Congressman Bowman of New York and Congressman Massie of Kentucky. But that really is the only thing happening here at the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, is a pair of messaging arguments about whether there should be more gun control or some other pathway to prevent school shootings. Well, note the Democratic leader in the U.S. House, Hakeem Jeffries, spoke today, and I asked him, is there going to be some effort by Democrats to force a vote in the U.S. House on gun control? And he said at this point, it's on the Republicans, it's on the majority to do so. But to be clear, Lana and Errol, there are no plans, there are no negotiations, there's no real bipartisan legislation being discussed at this point. There is just messaging.
And there are other areas where the administration wants to work with Republicans on other topics, although this certainly on the top of many people's minds. President Biden, for example, has issued a number of executive orders as it relates to background checks and red flag laws. The White House says they've reached the limit on what they can do. But how could the debate or the effort to get Republicans on the Democratic side of the issue, how might that influence debates on the budget, for example, which is top of mind for many folks where you are?
Yeah, Errol, that's right. On Monday, the White House press secretary indicated as much, that they have maxed out or at least used whatever executive orders are at their disposal to do their part, in her words, to try to reduce gun violence, that it's incumbent on legislators, on Congress to, quote, do something, to do more. But yeah, this really could fracture further an already fractured relationship between congressional Republicans and the White House. And there is going to have to be some cooperation between those two sides when it comes time to raise the debt ceiling. At this point, they're in a polarized standoff, exchanging barbs, exchanging press releases, not really talking, not really negotiating. But it's going to happen. The congressional Republicans will have to pass something to prevent a default on America's debt, a potentially dangerous default on America's debt. So those two sides, which seem intractable, intransigently fractured, will have to talk to each other eventually.
They do, and I know Americans expect more. Scott MacFarlane, thank you for staying on top of all of this. Appreciate it.